less and less time together.
Ask you a question on that? If you were dating a billionaire and your earning potential was like $40,000 a year, wouldn't it be like make sense for like you to not work a 9 to 5 while dating a billionaire, and like for him it's like a penny basically?
I think that might make sense, but I think he or whoever, you know, I was dating, and this was sort of what happened, was he might get bored if I'm just don't have an ambition. And what happened was like you can definitely like do other things besides work and be an ambitious and interesting person. Mm-hmm. Or you can decide, oh, I'm not going to work. I'm going to play video games all day. I'm not going to be an interesting or ambitious person.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that was kind of what happened.
I don't understand though. If let's just say that this guy should probably get additional points right away because by your own admission, you're right.
No.
So,
no, hold on.
Well, if you're,
there's a difference.
There is a difference.
What's the difference?
One is being filmed.
Yeah, one is being filmed. It's
okay.
like what I do is entertainment
So the
industry.
difference between is that other people can do it.
I think though that because I'm in the mainstream.
No, I want to be clear. I want this question answered. What is the difference between and I'm actually not clear on this point.
A lot less regulated, I would say. It's a lot less like when I walk into like a professional set, it's very like
there's who are regulated. If you go to Nevada, there's all sorts of regulations which they impose on their and that includes testing, that includes all sorts of different things. They have professional brothels. They're still why would you make the distinguishment between?
I think for the sake of the argument you're about to make, so I'll let you get there. Like, you're right. I'll let you have that point and let you make the rest of your case. Although I will say, like, industry-wise, like, it's just like it's two different kind of experiences. I won't say like, oh, one's better than the other, or one's safer or cleaner, or like just in the sake of this argument, like, fine. If you want to say like, I therefore I'm a.
Well, what else would you be?
A star.
Well, okay, but this is it's a non-semantic distinction. So if you say people who have sexual intercourse for money are and you're having sexual intercourse for money, this would make you a what?
That would make me a.
That would make you a. So unless you can give me a semantic distinction, something which actually creates a delineation, obviously you can have sex on camera as well as not on camera, they would still be. What would the actual distinction between the two be?
I wouldn't say that I'm an escort because I'm not, and I don't want to like take. I don't know, like I don't want to take away from girls who do. It's kind of like the distinction between like. Well, it's the distinction between porn and content creation. Like,
stolen valor? Is that what's going on?
All right,
stolen valor.
Is it stolen valor? Like I don't want to take away from the valor of the. As I engage in the same exact type of sexual act, I don't get it. Like, what can you make an actual distinction between the two for me?
It's not the same exact thing. When I walk onto a set, I have like, there's a script, there's a call sheet, there's a specific
like
studio or company. It's managed very differently than like walking into a date with like an escorting client.
Couldn't a guy hire a and then have a script for her to read when she came in because it made him happy? I don't understand what is the actual semantic distinction. It seems like
the talents
you're paid to have sex on camera, or you're does not get paid to have sex on camera. If you can actually give me a delineation that makes sense, I'm willing to accept it.
So the person I'm having sex with on camera is not the person who's paying me, and they're also being paid to have sex on camera.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not.
Oh wait, hang on. So I could also hire two to have sex and pay them both, even though I don't have sex with either of them. Correct?
Yeah, and then you're creating an amateur, I guess, if you want to somewhere.
Well, no, I mean I could hire two. They could have sex with each other, and I could never have sex with either of them. They would definitely be engaged in, right?
Sure.
Yeah, so so I still need a distinction from you, because everything you say, it sounds like you could the same exact thing.
It's the combination of things. Like I said, like it is that I'm being paid to have sex and the person who's having sex with me is being paid. There's a company that's like funding it, like a big studio.
paid?
Let me ask
Okay.
you, would you say that you consider it more of entertainment because it is filmed and as opposed to
It's adult entertainment. I think though, like, is also like entertaining to the
Yeah,
person being
right,
entertained.
Exactly.
So
That's
what was the point you were going with this? Because I
Well,
feel
my,
like you
my
were
point
going
is
somewhere else.
that I guess to bring it back around, if you can't give me an actual distinction between what would actually be a delineation between and being they both just as far as I'm aware, again willing to be corrected. But the point I was making was that shouldn't this guy kind of get additional bonus points for the fact that he's with a willingly? If she's making a ton of cash and he's with her willingly, like isn't that kind of bonus points for him, like from your perspective?
Well, if he's just using her, it's kind of like he would be almost acting as like a pimp in that way, where he's.
Yeah, like that's not how I want my personal relationships
How's he?
to function.
What? How would he be a pimp?
Because he's letting her make money. If we're going with the angle, he's just like laying back, doing nothing, and letting her make money for him as well, for the. If that makes
Okay,
sense.
but I let me test this for you, or test the logic here, and you can tell me where I get this wrong. Let's assume for a second you're engaged in, and then you meet a guy, and you end up with this guy, and you continue to be engaged in. How in the world would he be the pimp? You were already a. Like now he's with you and you're still doing the same thing you were doing before. How would that be on him?
Because he's collecting the money.
Yeah, we have this term in the industry. It's kind of a jokey term, but we call them a suitcase pimp. You know, a guy who usually lives off the income of their girlfriend or their wife, and they just kind of don't contribute in other ways. I mean, yeah, we kind of call that a suitcase pimp. It's not a full-on pimp,
So
but
wait,
it is
inside
creating
of
a
the industry where you're
situation
not,
where
hang on, I want to make sure I get this right. Inside of the industry where you're definitely not a boyfriends who take the money from the girls are called pimps, but you're definitely not way, shape, or form, right?
I think you're confusing sex work, in which case, like, you are correct. Sex work is like this blanket term where, like, you engage
Yeah, well,
in
you
sexual
call
activity for
boyfriends
money.
of these pimps. Pimps are associated with what? What are they associated with?
Sex work?
What do you mean sex work? They're associated with
Yeah, but
prostitutes.
we live in
pimp's
a
like,
new
I got a
age
sex worker over
where
here
there's
for you.
so
They
many
go,
different-
hey, there's a hooker in the back if you want her. They don't go, here, I got a sex worker for you.
The
Here you go,
point
Chuck.
is, because you were asking about the guy and like why she didn't want to be with him. I just said pimp because going along with the scenario, I guess. She didn't want to be with the guy because he had no ambition of his own, and he just wanted her to basically go out and
Be the breadwinner.
film and live off of her income, and have no.
Yeah, but I don't
ambition.
understand if he is willing to look past that, right? If he's willing to look past the prostitution.
What if he was just using
to
her,
Brian's point? Well, then this could operate the exact opposite way too, right? You would say that women then who are with men who make a lot of money are just using them.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, but you would say at least it's a case by case though, right?
Yes,
Yeah, and
we're
I'm
talking
saying
about her
in
case.
my case, yeah, like that guy got boring and kind of mean and very ambitionless, and no amount of other so-called bonus points would make up for that. It's just not what I wanted in my life. It just wasn't working.
Yeah, right. But I guess my point is do you give extra points to somebody because they're willing to be with a
No,
Or no?
because
No?
if somebody is willing to be with me, then they already have like those points. You know what I mean? Like anybody I would date, anybody who I interact with in my personal life, like they are okay with that, or I never interact with them. So like to me, that's kind of just like a given. That like it's not like, oh, this boyfriend's better than that boyfriend because that boyfriend was like okay with me doing my job. It's like I really only date guys who are okay with me doing my job.
Would you prefer a man who told you that he didn't want you to engage in anymore?
No, absolutely not. That's
So
why I
then
love
if
being
that's
single.
the
Nobody's
case-
telling me what to do.
Yeah. So if that's the case, then he could never be a pimp if he's with you. in spite of the fact that you wouldn't want him to tell you not to be anyway, right?
I don't think it mattered what my job is. I think it was just that I was working a ton and making a lot of money, and he just fell off because